Story 1. Customer left the hospital to come in. This just happened in my store and I had to share. TL, doctor at the bottom of this gets too long. First, a little background. I work at a furniture retailer, not going to name the store for privacy reasons. Because of some fraud issues we've had recently, there has been a policy enacted that we can only accept partial payments for customers over the phone. The average order in our particular store is over $1,500, and since it's tax season we always see an influx of fraud cases. It doesn't always sit well with people, but it's a corporate thing, so we find a way to deal. Anyways, we had a call from this customer that wanted to buy a bed frame for a guest she was having next week. No big deal. The order was placed, her info was taken, and she agreed to come in person to finish the transaction. When she came in, she was very obviously pregnant. She was so far along that we all thought she might actually pop while she was here. Her belly was sitting low and she was ready to go. We had no idea how right we were. As the salesperson was flying through the transaction and breakneck speed, I figured something was up. Turns out the lady's water broke, she says. On Tuesday, it's now Friday, and she had gone to the hospital today to have the kid. She had called in to get her stuff purchased so it could be ready after her delivery. She said the hospital had even admitted her, and before they could get her fully prepped, she told them she had to go pay for parking and left to come in to pay for her furniture. I could see the look on her face that she was rushing to get back there. The transaction finished, and she joked that she might even have to have the baby here in the store. Hopefully she got back to the hospital instead of having a backseat birth. My mind was blown, still is blown. TL, doctor, pregnant lady came in to buy a bed after leaving the hospital she was admitted to give birth. Story 2. Today I screwed up by letting my brother put together furniture in my new room. Well, actually this happened 8 months ago, but I just found out about this today. Sorry for this being so long and the bad formatting, I'm on mobile. I 20F moved into my first apartment 8 months ago, and my little brother 16M offered to help me move in and set up my desk and bed in my new room. I thought it was very sweet and gladly accepted. He also gave me his old AC unit and told me BTW that thing beeps. I didn't think much of it and was grateful to get a free AC unit, so I would put up with the beeping. The AC unit beeps at inconsistent time intervals, about every 5 to 45 minutes, but I put up with it. Summer comes and goes, and I take out the AC unit and take it back to my parents' house. The beeping continues. I thought this was weird but let it go for a while. After months of this shit, I'm fed up. I start moving every electronic device in my room into the living room one at a time to systematically figure out which one is making the noise. None of them are. I'm pissed. The noise now causes an anger response in me. It'll be absolutely silent in my room and I'm almost asleep, then that fucking beep happens and I'm wide awake again. Turns out my brother bought an annoying beeper off of Amazon right before I moved in. He super glued it to the back of a drawer in my bed. It has been driving me insane for 8 months. The battery life is 3 years. It's the size of a quarter. I never would have found it if he hadn't come into my room while I was visiting my parents and asked if I had found the beeper he hid in my room. I tore apart my room. I found it. I had to rip it off of my bed frame. I smashed it with a hammer. I'm legitimately on the verge of tears. I don't know why. I'm just exhausted and so happy to have that sound be gone. Fuck you, little brother. TLDR. My brother hid an annoying beeper in my room when he offered to set up my furniture for me. It tortured me for 8 months. Edit. Everything I say in this post is said with so much love for my brother. We're already laughing about this. Please don't be mean to him. Story 3. I'm leaving my boyfriend over a prank. I'm still shaken up, so if this doesn't make much sense, I apologize. TW for suicide. I 18F have been with my boyfriend 20 meters for almost 2 years. I moved in with him last August and things have been pretty rocky. My whole life I've struggled with my mental health, specifically depression, anxiety, and self-harm. I've been clean for a while though. I also have a history of trauma, but I don't need to get into that. I made sure my boyfriend knew this when we started dating because I wanted him to be able to nope out of the relationship if that was too much for him to deal with. He assured me it wasn't an issue. He never seemed to really get the whole mental health thing though. He would make comments saying stuff like depression is just spicy sad and people with trauma should just get over it. He also thinks that only veterans can get PTSD. I've tried explaining things to him, but he just brushes me off, so I do the best to ignore him. Recently, he started watching couple prank channels on YouTube and he started pranking me. At first, it was just small things like putting way too much flavor in my water or salt in a bite of my food. I laughed it off, it didn't really bother me. But then he started jumping out and scaring me. That kind of stuff really affects me sometimes because of my PTSD, and I tried to explain that to him. He would apologize but do it again the next day. I was getting annoyed and frustrated, but I tried to let it be. Things escalated when last week when he put some noisemakers under the toilet seat in the middle of the night. I woke up to go to the bathroom and sat down, boom. It being late at night, me being half awake, and the loud noise all mixed together and gave me a full-blown panic attack. I was on the bathroom floor crying and having flashbacks. After I don't know how long I stopped crying and was just staring into space, having flashbacks. He came in because I guess he noticed I was gone for a while. When he saw me sitting on the floor, he remembered his little prank and started laughing. I just stared at him for a second, got up and called him an ass. I slept in the living room the rest of the night. The next day I sat him down and I told him he cannot keep scaring me like this. No more jumping out at me. No more loud noises. He pretty much sighed and rolled his eyes, but he said he would stop. Everything was fine for a week. I thought this whole prank thing was finally over. Yesterday I got home from being out with a friend, actually feeling better for the first time in a while. When I walked in the house, all the lights were off, so I assumed he was still at work, which isn't abnormal because sometimes he works late. I plugged my phone in because it died on my way back home, and when it powered on, I got a notification that he sent me a text. It just read, "So sorry. I love you." I replied saying it's okay, I'll see you when you get home, love you. And I heard his phone ding in the bathroom. That was weird, I thought. I got up to go get his phone, and when I got into the bathroom, I saw him laying in the bathtub. The bath was full of water, there was an empty bottle of pills on the sink, and he was covered in blood. His wrists were cut, and there was just so much blood. My heart just sank. I started having a panic attack. I was hyperventilating, crying, and I was just frozen. After a minute, I ran to the living room to get my phone to call 911, and I hear splashing and then laughter. I turned around to see him standing in the hallway just laughing. He said he got me and I should have seen the look on my face. I don't even know how to describe the feelings I was experiencing. I was so mad and sad and scared. I didn't even say anything. I just walked out of the house. I just kept walking and eventually I figured I needed to call my friend to come get me. At first I didn't tell her what happened, I just told her I needed her to come get me, it was an emergency. She came and took me back to her house where I'm at now. My boyfriend keeps calling me and he sent me some texts saying he was sorry and it was just a joke and I'm overreacting and I need to come home. I'm not answering. I don't even know what I would say to him. My friend is going over to his house tomorrow to get my things when is at work. She said I can stay with her however long I need. I don't know what I'm going to do. I just feel numb. Story 4. I married my bully's sister. I just needed to tell someone because I was talking to my wife about it recently. I'm from a very small, very bigoted southern town, and it wasn't hard for others to find fault in anything I did. Also, due to the size of the town, I was in the same class with the same people from beginning to end. I had a lot of bullies back then. People who would hurl slurs at me, people who would purposefully ostracize me, teachers and staff who would overlook it because they're just playing around. There was also the uptick in homophobic slurs when we hit high school. Now, I'm a proud non-binary pagan, but back then, I was terrified of anyone knowing that I even liked girls. The one girl who was openly lesbian in our school was tortured both verbally and physically, and the school overlooked it because she was already trouble. What sense that made, I will never know. Regardless, being being publicly outed as anything not straight in that town was a guarantee that my life would be hell. There was this one particular bully who did it. He certainly wasn't the originator of the rumor, but because he was one of the more connected students in town, his words held a lot of weight. If he said it on a Monday, by Tuesday the entire town was calling me all sorts of homophobic slurs that I didn't even really know what they meant. From 7th grade until I was baptized to fix me, I was everything from a predator to a whore to a witch, and those were the gentle words. I didn't find out it was him, however, until after the first married his sister. I didn't marry my angel out of spite towards him. He wasn't even a thought. My wife is smart, funny, beautiful, kind, and all around the most amazing person I've ever met. We'd met in passing while we lived in our hometown, but we became so much closer after we moved away. We knew who each other were because in a town the size of ours, everyone knew everyone's great-grandparents, but it never registered what it would mean to marry her outside of marrying my best friend. It wasn't until she was telling me about her plans to visit her brother now that he was about to have a baby that it clicked. I married my homophobic bully's sister. The ammo, the jokes, the clapbacks. I have missed so many opportunities to rub in this asshole's face that I got with his sister. I am a fool. I came to Reddit because I can't lament to my wife about it anymore, but I can't get over my absolute lack of proper revenge for this. I also don't know how to go about it other than going, hey, you remember that time you made my life a living hell for being gay? Well, I fucked your sister, so maybe you were onto something.